She was once the poised and radiant Australian who captured the heart of a crown prince. Now, Queen Mary of Denmark is capturing the world's attention for very different, heart-wrenching reasons. In a moment that shocked royal watchers and broke the facade of the seemingly perfect royal marriage, Queen Mary was recently seen visibly emotional, even shedding tears, after sharing a cryptic message on social media. Her emotional appearance comes just weeks after swirling rumors of King Frederick's alleged affair with a glamorous Mexican socialite sent shockwaves through Denmark and beyond. The story behind those tears runs far deeper than the cameras captured, and what it reveals about the royal household is nothing short of explosive. It was supposed to be a new chapter for Denmark's royal couple. With Queen Margrethe II's abdication earlier this year, King Frederick X and Queen Mary officially ascended to the throne, ushering in a new royal era full of hope, renewal, and a modern approach to monarchy. But instead of basking in the glow of their shared destiny, the couple finds themselves navigating personal turmoil under a glaring public spotlight. And the world is watching every strained glance and silent moment. On a cloudy Copenhagen morning, Queen Mary stepped out for an official event, dressed impeccably in a tailored ensemble that echoed regal authority. Yet her expression betrayed something deeper: sadness, weariness, a kind of emotional burden not typically worn so publicly by royals. As the cameras clicked, sharp-eyed observers noticed her dabbing at the corners of her eyes, clearly moved by something not in the day's schedule. Just hours earlier, Queen Mary had posted a cryptic message on her official social media account, quoting a Danish poem that roughly translates to, "Even stars fall from the sky, but the night remains." It didn't take long for speculation to explode. Was this a veiled message about her marriage? A reflection of private pain now bubbling to the surface? Or a poetic hint that despite the recent turbulence, she remains steadfast and dignified, carrying the weight of her crown alone? Body language experts and royal watchers have pored over every detail, noting how Queen Mary has appeared increasingly solemn in public appearances since the scandal broke. Her once warm smiles have grown tight, her eyes a touch more guarded. This shift in demeanor has become all the more noticeable when contrasted with the earlier part of the year, where her pride in becoming Denmark's first Australian-born queen was evident in every graceful gesture. The alleged affair that sparked the firestorm took root in Spain, where King Frederick was reportedly spotted at a Madrid nightclub with socialite Genoveva Casanova, sparking immediate tabloid frenzy. Although both parties denied any wrongdoing and the royal court issued no official comment, the damage had been done. Danish citizens, fiercely loyal to Queen Mary, rallied behind her with hashtags like #StandWithMary trending across platforms. Protesters even unfurled banners outside royal residences, urging the king to respect the queen. Never before had the Danish monarchy faced such visible cracks in its royal armor. Privately, insiders suggest Queen Mary was devastated, not merely by the rumors, but by the emotional betrayal they implied. Her marriage had long been presented as one of the most solid in Europe's royal circles, built on mutual respect and a shared journey from courtship to coronation. For many Danes, they were more than figureheads, they were symbols of resilience, modern love, and the blending of cultures. That image now lies shattered, replaced with tabloid headlines and whispered court gossip. Court aides have reportedly noted a significant chill between the king and queen behind palace walls. During recent state events, their physical distance was noticeable, their interactions more stiff and formal. At one gala dinner, Queen Mary was seated at the opposite end of the table from King Frederick, an unusual breach of traditional seating arrangements that did not go unnoticed. A source close to the palace revealed that Mary had requested space and time for reflection, even as she continues to fulfill her public duties with grace and diligence. What makes Queen Mary's emotional breakdown even more poignant is how rare it is for her to publicly display vulnerability. Throughout her 2 decades in royal life, she has been known for her composure, her ironclad privacy, and her dignified silence in the face of personal trials. From raising 4 children under public scrutiny to embracing her role as a cultural bridge between Denmark and Australia, she has always appeared unshakable. This tearful appearance, therefore, sends a powerful message that even queens are human, and heartbreak knows no title. The Danish people have responded with overwhelming support. Online forums are flooded with messages of love and solidarity. "We love you, Mary," one user wrote. "Stay strong. Denmark stands with its queen." Others have expressed anger towards King Frederick, demanding accountability and transparency from a monarchy that has long operated under a veil of discretion. In this age of social media and instant judgment, silence is no longer an effective shield. The royal household has remained tight-lipped, but behind the scenes, the pressure is mounting. Some royal analysts have gone as far as to question whether the king and queen might take a pause in their marriage, a concept foreign to traditional royal norms but increasingly relevant in the modern age. Others argue that Mary is simply giving Frederick a chance to repair trust and prove his devotion. Either way, the burden lies heavily on her shoulders. With her children watching, the nation observing, and history recording her every move, Queen Mary is walking a tightrope between personal dignity and public duty. In the midst of all this, it is impossible not to admire her strength. She continues to attend charity functions, greet dignitaries, and engage with the Danish public with poise. Her recent visit to a women's shelter, an event that suddenly felt incredibly personal, left many teary-eyed. "She hugged us as if she needed it as much as we did," said one volunteer, describing the Queen as genuinely emotional, not just royal. As the world watches, one can only wonder what the future holds for Queen Mary and King Frederick. Will they reconcile behind closed doors and present a united front once more? Or is this the beginning of a deeper rift that may eventually reshape the Danish monarchy? For now, Queen Mary's tears have spoken louder than any palace statement ever could. They are the tears of a woman betrayed, of a queen burdened, of a mother determined to remain strong, for her children, her country, and herself. And so, the nation waits. Not for a royal decree or official update, but for the next look, the next step, the next message from their queen. Because in Queen Mary, the Danish people see not just a royal figure, but a human heart, breaking in real time, yet still beating with strength. The gravity of this unfolding story goes beyond a single emotional moment. Queen Mary's quiet vulnerability is forcing a nation to confront uncomfortable questions about transparency, accountability, and the humanity of those who wear the crown. The Danish royal family, long revered for its sense of dignity and discretion, now finds itself at a pivotal crossroads. And the entire continent seems to be watching with bated breath, waiting for what comes next. Even within the walls of Amalienborg Palace, whispers have grown louder. Trusted sources suggest that Queen Mary has begun retreating more frequently to her private residence at Frederick VIII's palace, away from the king's quarters. Staff have been instructed to limit cross appointments and maintain a respectful buffer between the couple's schedules. One palace aide noted, "She's not hiding, but she's healing." That takes space. Royal watchers also point to subtle changes in her behavior. At a recent ceremony honoring Danish veterans, Queen Mary paused longer than usual before speaking, her voice catching slightly in the microphone. Though she recovered quickly, the emotional tremor was unmistakable. When asked afterward if everything was all right, she offered a gracious smile and simply said, "I'm here for Denmark." That simple statement, "I'm here for Denmark," was echoed in national newspapers the next day, becoming something of a rallying cry for her supporters. Indeed, Queen Mary's emotional courage has begun to shift the narrative. Where there was once scandal, now there is solidarity. Where there was judgment, now there is empathy. Thousands of Danes have taken to public forums to express their admiration. Letters addressed to the Queen have poured in from every region, some offering advice, some sharing their own stories of betrayal and recovery, but most simply sending love. "You are not alone," wrote one elderly woman from Odense. "We cry with you, and we stand behind you." International observers, too, have weighed in. The Australian media has revisited Queen Mary's roots in Hobart, Tasmania, marveling at how the local girl who once worked in advertising became the quiet pillar of strength for an entire European monarchy. Australian headlines now refer to her as "our Queen," again, and calls for her to visit home have grown louder. Some commentators suggest that a brief return to Australia, perhaps framed as an official diplomatic visit, could offer Queen Mary both a respite and an opportunity to reconnect with her past. Meanwhile, King Frederick remains largely out of the spotlight. His public appearances have been minimal, his statements measured. In contrast to Queen Mary's growing popularity, the king's approval ratings have taken a noticeable hit. A recent poll conducted by Denmark's national broadcaster, showed that nearly 61% of respondents felt sympathy for the Queen, while only 29% expressed confidence in the king's leadership. That represents a dramatic shift for a monarch who, just months ago, was widely seen as a charming, relatable successor to his mother's formidable reign. Perhaps sensing the public mood, King Frederick attempted a quiet gesture of reconciliation last week. During a garden party at Fredensborg Castle, he reportedly reached for Queen Mary's hand during the national anthem. Cameras caught the fleeting moment, her fingers stiff, her gaze forward. It was a cold, heartbreaking contrast to their past hand-holding moments, where love seemed effortless. Analysts quickly dissected the image. It was more symbolic than genuine, noted a royal commentator on Danish TV. A king reaching for the past, while the queen holds firmly to her pain. The royal children, too, have been drawn into the periphery of this emotional storm. Crown Prince Christian, recently confirmed and increasingly stepping into the spotlight as heir to the throne, has maintained a quiet and respectful presence. Insiders say that Queen Mary is focused on shielding her children from the full weight of public scrutiny. At public events, she remains close to them, often resting a hand protectively on Christian's shoulder or whispering words of reassurance to Princess Isabella. It is in these small gestures that Mary's maternal strength shines brightest, balancing the impossible roles of mother, monarch, and betrayed partner. The emotional tension reached a subtle yet poignant peak during a recent church service attended by the entire royal family. As the choir began to sing a hymn about forgiveness and love, Queen Mary's eyes welled up again. She looked downward, clutching a handkerchief, while King Frederick sat stone-faced beside her. The service, meant to symbolize unity, instead highlighted the emotional chasm growing between them. Despite this painful journey, Queen Mary's popularity has never been higher. Some even speculate that she could one day serve as Denmark's sole monarch, should the couple officially separate and King Frederick step aside. Though such a shift would require constitutional change and public referendum, the idea no longer seems entirely far-fetched in the modern landscape of monarchy. After all, Queen Margrethe herself redefined royal tradition when she abdicated, a bold move that may have paved the way for future transformations. In the end, what Queen Mary is experiencing transcends royalty. It is a deeply personal struggle with love, trust, and public duty. Her tears, broadcast across global media, are not signs of weakness, they are symbols of strength in the face of human heartbreak. And through it all, she carries on. Head high, voice steady, heart healing. The Danish people, indeed, the world, will continue to follow her journey. Not because they crave scandal, but because they believe in her. In her resilience, in her ability to rise above betrayal and reclaim her narrative. Because in Queen Mary, many see a reflection of their own struggles and triumphs, their own moments of despair and grace. And so, we ask you, dear viewers, do you believe Queen Mary's strength can truly reshape the future of Denmark's monarchy, and at what personal cost will she forge this new legacy?